Good afternoon all. Today I'm having a look at ThruNite's new TC10 torch. This one has a cool white LED, and this one is a single 18650 lithium ion cell model with in-torch recharging. So let's take a look inside the box. Here's the torch itself. Let's just see what else is in there. A user manual, a little pouch. Now importantly, this has a recharging lead, so it's USB type A to this miniature power DC jack, and then there's the selection of accessories including the strap there and some spare rubber parts, which is the end cap switch cover and an O-ring. So this is a tactically styled flashlight torch with aircraft grade black anodized aluminium. This anti-roll section here prevents it from rolling away. So at the head end we have a single Cree XM L2 LED which can produce a maximum of 900 lumens and a smooth reflector. Now this one is a two-switch design. There's an end switch for switching on and off, and there's a mode select switch which also looks like it's probably illuminated as well. So let's undo the tail switch cap, ready for inserting the cell. Now with this, ThruNite have also sent one of their U1 charger kits which has a small charger and a single 18650 cell, so let's take a look inside there. So here we can see there's a 3400 milliamp hour 18650 cell, protected cell, and you can just see through the coating on this. I'll just get a close-up of that. Yes, underneath the covering you can just make out that it says it's an NCR 18650B, so that's a Panasonic cell. So let's put that in the flashlight and screw on the end cap and check out what it does. So when you switch the switch at the back end, it switches on in the last mode that you left it in. That appears to be Firefly, and then the little white switch here at the head puts it between the different modes, low, high or medium, high. Now it says in the manual that there are 5 modes, but I'm only getting 4 at the moment. Let's have a look. So here it says 5 modes: Firefly, low, medium, high and strobe. And down here it says Firefly, low, medium, high and turbo, and long press for strobe. So let's see what we actually get. Now what I seem to be getting is Firefly, or very low, then medium, then high, and then a little bit higher still, which you might call turbo. So it's got 4 lighting levels: Firefly or low, medium, high and turbo. Now strobe alert, I'm going to press and hold the switch, and that puts it into strobe mode, and then a single press brings it out to the previous mode. Now let's take a look at in-torch charging. That's done through this DC 5V jack. So if I lift that rubber flap, there's a little port there which takes the plug from the charging lead. So I'm going to plug that in now and plug it into my USB, and we'll see what the switch here, what colours it lights up in. Okay, so this is connected to my PC's USB. Let's plug that in and we get a purple light. Let's see what the manual says. So purple for the torch is being charged, purple flashes for abnormal charging. This may be caused when there's no battery inside or the flashlight's not turned on. Please turn it on. So it does have to be turned on at the switch. Let's see what happens if we turn it off. So that flashes. Now let's just take the plug out a minute, switch it on. It's in Firefly mode, and then plug in the charging lead and see what happens. So when it's charging, it turns off the LED, but the torch itself does have to be switched on. Blue is for the battery is fully charged. Red means the battery is low at about 10%. Red flashes, the battery is very low, about 5%. Now when the cable's plugged in and it's charging, the LED goes off, but it seems you can override that and go into Firefly and medium modes. It only has those 2 modes, but the manual actually suggests that you don't do that. It says here it's not suggested to use the flashlight while it's being charged to protect the light. However, the flashlight does retain Firefly and low mode under charging. So here are some specifications: a Cree XML2 with a lifespan of 20 plus years, a single 18650, 3 to 5 volts, 1 amp is the charging current. Now this working temperature, minus 20 degrees C to 40 degrees C, I'm going to test that, certainly at the low temperature end. Now I'm not sure that lithium cells like working at this sort of low temperature, but we'll see what happens. Strobe is 900 lumens, 4 hours in strobe, because of course it's not on the whole time. High, 900 lumens for 103 minutes, medium 6 hours, low 227 lumens for 6 hours, low 12 lumens 123 hours, and Firefly is 0.1 lumens for 83 days. And then we have beam intensity 21280 candelas, max beam distance 292 meters, impact resistance to 2 meters, you can drop it from 2 meters high, waterproof to IPX8, 1.5 meters submerged. I'm going to test that, and there's the weight and the dimensions. Now I'm guessing that for this to be completely waterproof, this charging port needs to be well and truly covered. That rubber thing seems to sort of click in there a little bit, so that should now be waterproof. Now for my extreme test, I'm going to have the flashlight switched on, but in very low Firefly mode, and I'm going to drop it into this bottle, which I've very artistically cut the top off, of water. I've estimated how much displacement there'll be. Now I'm probably going to do this head first, so that the head end of the torch is down, and then I'm going to put the whole thing in the freezer, so it's going to be subject to very low temperatures and probably also mechanical stresses as the water freezes and wraps itself around the torch, and we'll see whether it stays on, stays working, and what the outcome is. So let's just pop that in there, see if I've got this displacement right. Now, I could add a little bit more water to that so it just covers the tail end, and then it's going in the freezer. Now I've just closed the blinds and I've got a mirror here, and you can see that the flashlight is on, the LED is on there. So off to the freezer and in it goes. So here I am in the freezer with the Haagen-Dazs and the ice cubes. It's very dark in here. In fact, I can, oops, no, the water's coming up. Thought I could use the torch to illuminate the inside of the freezer, but not very well. So I'm choosing this location to place it in. And there it is. You can see very clearly that it's still lit up. So we'll leave it in there. Now it's going to take several hours, I'd have thought, and then I'll come back and see what the outcome is. The freezer. There's the torch, and it's pretty much encased in solid ice now. Let's just see whether it's still lit. And yeah, there's the glow at the bottom of the torch. So that's still working in Firefly mode. Okay, so on the bench, here it is. It's fairly solid. You can see that it's still shining. It does seem to be a slightly odd colour, and there's a dark patch in there, but we'll investigate that. You can see the torch label there, TC10, and although there is some water in it, it's pretty much solid. So what I might do at this point is do the drop test as well, to kind of shatter the ice and see if I can get the torch out of this plastic bottle. So I'm standing on the garden wall here. There's probably a metre or so's drop here, and I've got the torch here, so I'm just going to drop it. That's about 2 meters, I would guess. Let's see what happens. Yes, that's a very solid thud. I don't think the ice cracked much. Let's take it back inside. So after the drop, the ice has definitely cracked and shattered here, but it's still solid in there. I don't think I'm going to be able to get that torch out very easily. I'll start cutting the plastic away, but I think I'm just going to have to let the ice melt. Well, of course, this is the answer. Pour hot water in it. So that's starting to melt quite nicely now. That should be out of there pretty soon. And hopefully it will remain, oh, well, I think I've done it, remain below its maximum temperature of 40 degrees C. Okay, back on the bench. Right, well, the hot water was very effective at getting this back out, so that's still fine in Firefly mode. We'll just dab this dry. I'm just wondering whether there might be a little bit of moisture inside the lens there. I'm not sure. I haven't decided yet. Okay, let's dry that off and then check the various brightness levels. So yeah, that's still switching between all 4 brightness levels. Seems to be working fine. Now in turbo mode, the red light is now flashing. I'm not sure whether that's because the cell is cold. It's flashing in high and even in low. See what temperature the cell is, if it's warmed up a bit. Oh, that feels relatively light room temperature. So I think I'll give it a bit of a charge now. Now I've just actually taken the cell that was in the ThruNite TN12 torch out to put it in this torch to carry on with this review. I thought it might be interesting just seeing these two flashlights side by side. The TC10 is a little bit bigger than the TN12. I've also noticed that the two cells have different top types. This one is a flat top and this one's a button top, so they do appear to be completely interchangeable. Both flashlights seem happy with both cell types. Now I can see a little bit of discoloration, that yellowing around the LED, but it's hard to exactly work out where it is, and it's quite difficult to get on camera. I don't remember that being there before. I'm just wondering whether that has occurred since the freezing, but I can't be 100% sure about that. So I'm outside now and it's starting to get quite dark. It's certainly dusk. My 30-watt garden solar light is on, and I'm going to compare the ThruNite TC10 with just an incandescent power tool lamp with a power tool battery on it, and throw them up onto this little wooden shed here. So at fairly close range, the TC10 needs to be in at least medium or high to outdo the power tool battery, and then turbo takes it a stage further. Now I'm going to point them at the shed, which is right down the bottom of the garden. So this is about 20 meters. The power tool battery is very dim. Let's start raising up the TC10, and you can see that that picks out the shed pretty well. My archery target there is also picked out reasonably well by the TC10. And at about 30 meters, the power tool lamp, which is on the shed, is barely visible. So I'll turn on the TC10 now and start raising the brightness up, and you can pick out the shed with relative ease with this thing in turbo mode. And now I'm just shining it at arm's length at just a bit of plain fence, so you get an idea of the beam pattern with the flood area around the central spot area in the middle. So that's the ThruNite TC10 rechargeable 900 lumens LED torch. It survived being encased in ice and frozen for about 5 or 6 hours. It survived a 2-meter drop, also still encased in ice. The LED colour now looks pretty reasonable. I think maybe that discoloration has gone away. It's certainly a very bright and very tough LED flashlight. So I'm just going to now recharge the battery. Cheerio.